back to my channel. So today we have another weekly haul. Very exciting, in fact, to crack open to these fragrances, but I will mention, because you might as well find out at the beginning, that this is actually a special one because I've smelled every single fragrance in this haul before, which never happens, but with filming schedules and everything this month, I just sneaked a peek, and we'll get into why. It's a little bit of a mishmash haul from, I think, 3 places, or maybe four places. I'm not sure. We'll get into it. But if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started. The first 2, I will mention actually, or I should say the first 3, but one of them I'm gonna get out of the way, are royalty scents. And the one I'm gonna get out of the way is one I already have, and I'm still in the process of deciding what I'm gonna do with it. It'll be a while, but I don't wanna open it. It's a little, actually ripped right here because as I was trying to get it out of the box, I ripped the box. But this is Marc Jacobs Divine Decadence. I actually got a full bottle of this. And it's not a fragrance I feel like I need a decant of, but I'm still not sure what I want to do with it. Maybe at the next like huge milestone, I'll do a giveaway. Maybe it'll be a gift. I'm not sure, but I want to put it to the side and talk about the other 2 scents I got from Royalty Scents because they are so exciting to me, and I was so excited to finally get them. So Royalty Scents actually had, and I always have their link in my description box below, they had some of the city exclusives from Le Labo, and I really wanted to try out these 2, so I got them. So the first one's Vanille 44, and this is the Paris city exclusive. So this lists vanilla, guaiac wood, incense, aldehydes, mandarin, and bergamot. And let's open this. I put it back in its box. But I've already worn it once, and oh my god, spoiler alert, love it. But let's see. I really like this one. I don't know what I was expecting, but I did have slightly lower expectations overall for Le Labo because I just haven't been impressed beyond measure ever with the house. I would love to be really impressed one day, like beyond measure, like I said, but everything I've tried for them has either been like, oh, it's nice, or I actually don't really like it, and the prices are just extortionate for that, and the performance for every single thing I've tried from them has been so poor. So compared to the prices, it's just harder to justify. But these 2, this one and the next one, they're the best ones I've ever tried from Le Labo, which sucks because they're city exclusives, but I think, I'm not a huge Le Labo person, but I think every once in a while you can get some city exclusives from other places. I'm not sure. So this one, I would say, is got a bit of a, the way I would describe it is it's got a bit of a plasticky vanilla scent to it. I don't know if that will turn up on everyone's skin, but to me, I think it's like the combination of, because it is incensey, but the incense and aldehydes mixed in with the vanilla give it almost a plasticky undertone, which I can actually see turning people off for sure, because it's not typical, and it may turn on some people's skin or to some people's noses, but I personally love it. I really was surprised by how unique it smelled, and it doesn't smell like any other vanilla fragrance in my collection, so I actually personally like it. I don't know if I'd ever need a full bottle. This isn't a fragrance where I feel like I crave it all the time, or that I even want to smell like it a whole lot, but I really like smelling it in and of itself. I am curious to layer this. I've been trying to think what I would layer with to kind of maybe ground it in warmth or even sweeten it up. Maybe I could do both and see which one I like more, because it is like, it does have a quality to it that makes it obviously more unique and more interesting, and what makes me like it, but it also is what makes it kind of harder to wear and difficult. Is it really does have like quite a strong and pronounced plasticky note personally on me, which I think is somehow the combination, I'm assuming, of maybe the incense and aldehydes mixed in with the vanilla. So then the other one is the Hong Kong City exclusive, and that was Bigarade 18, so Bergamot 18. And that one lists labdanum, vanilla, musk, civet, resins, tonka, castoreum, patchouli, cinnamon, balsam wood, and birch wood. So I'm gonna open this one up because I actually didn't read the notes prior. Oh, and I love the atomizer on this. One of my favorite parts of Royalty Scents is to see like what new or the same atomizers they have, and I haven't had any in this. I might have had one in this, but I've never had this one, and I love it. So this one, and sometimes I like to check the juice color as well. This one, I didn't check the notes until after I'd already smelled this and worn it. And when I was writing down the notes, I was blown away that it has so many, first of all, that it has so many notes that I feel like I can't smell at all, but that it has so many animalic notes. Like with civet and castoreum, those are very strong, very prominent, and overwhelming animalic notes. And if you know me, I'm not an animalic fragrance lover at all. I actually can't really stand them, and it takes a very, very particularly light dab of any animalic notes to even pique my fancy, and that's a huge risk as well. So I'm really glad I didn't read the notes, because I think I would have not even wanted to try this one out. This is stunning, and I don't get those at all. It's a very to me, more of like a neroli, bergamot, like white floral, sweet scent. I don't feel like it's got like a whole lot of warmth to it. To me, there's like a real fresh neroli, almost like a Tom Ford. I'm trying to think. Neroli Portofino Aqua. I actually, since I have it right next to me, let me just spray it in the air and see. Okay, it doesn't smell like this, but there's definitely like a very huge similarity of like the neroli scent that Tom Ford has, the neroli note, I should say, and this is a bit warmer compared to the Aqua, but they're a lot more similar than you would think that this would be with something with civet and castoreum and labdanum and all that stuff. Like I have no idea where these notes were coming from, and I took a look at the Fragrantica like once or twice, and I'm like, this, unless I'm getting this wrong, I have no idea what this is going for. So anyways, I love this one. I would say it's a little bit more preferable personally to my taste than Vanilla 44, but I do really like Vanilla 44 or Veni 44 as well. Veni 44 I will mention because I've tried these before. The more it rests on your skin, the less of that plasticky opening, and the more it smells like Tobacco Veni, actually, by Tom Ford. So it's interesting how both of these kind of remind me of Tom Ford's, but they do. It has like a touch of Tobacco Veni, which is a fragrance I own from them. Oh, here it is, actually. Oh my God, I just dropped everything. Okay, we're good. This reminds me of this, and Bigarade. Yeah, it reminds me of Neroli Portofino Aqua. A little bit less, because like I said, this is more of a freshness there, but it definitely has that sort of vibe. All right, so we've got three fragrances from Lush. So I think we'll leave them for last, and I'm gonna get to the only fragrance I have from L'Occitane. And this one I picked up because I was picking up some other stuff during their kind of like Christmas or post-Christmas sale, and I saw this fragrance, and I guess they were discontinuing it, or it must have just been on sale, and it's the Terre de Lumière, the eau de parfum, because I know there's a like pink one that's a different formulation, and I smelled it, and it smelled different and not as good as this one. So this one lists ambrette, pink pepper, bergamot, honey, lavender, tonka bean, cacao, musk, and bitter almond. So I really did like this one, and I was trying to decide between a full bottle and a rollerball, and I ended up going for the rollerball, which I never do because it was a spray bottle, and I was like, you know what, you got too much. When they offer it in a spray rollerball, take the chance. And I'm glad I did, because while I do like it, and I like it the more it rests on the skin, I don't think I needed a full bottle of this. And this is my first L'Occitane fragrance that I've owned actually ever. I do try their fragrances every once in a while in store, and I do really like a lot of them, but this is the first one I've owned. What I will say is it's way more citrusy and citrus fresh than you would expect from the notes. The more it stays on the skin though, the more that dies down, and there is a really nice almond note that I love in this, and a kind of honey vanilla mix that comes into play. And I'd rather, you know, deal with the whatever 1 to 2 minutes of citrusy opening, because afterwards I think this actually turns really, really beautiful. And for a while there, I was debating whether or not I need a full bottle. So I am hoping that this isn't discontinued, because eventually, if I were to go through this, I think this is really, really nice, and a really nice take on kind of a bitter almond that actually has some sweetness and muskiness to it, especially because I think of like the tonka vanilla and honey. So really love that. That is Terre de Lumière, the Eau de Parfum by L'Occitane. Okay, so finally we are going to get to the 3 Lush fragrances, and the reason I've smelled these in advance is because I was sampling them in store before picking them up, and I actually know that they're not my favorite, but these were also the ones that were 50% off on the Christmas deal, and I just kind of got wrapped up in the whole deal. So let's get to all 3 of them, and then obviously at the end we'll put them in order. So the first one is Fresh As, and surprisingly, with how much I love Lush, I've only ever had their body sprays. I've never actually owned any of their fragrances. So I was also interested in owning one. And this is the 30 ml, and Fresh As lists Siberian pine, pine needles, benzoin, tagette, and orris. So let's remind ourselves, because it has actually been a second. And I remember that tagette is actually one of the notes in Bal d'Afrique, which is one of my favorite fragrances. So, okay. I actually do like this one. I just feel like Fresh As is a lot more of like a room home scent rather than a fragrance that you wear on yourself. It smells very much like a Lush store during the holiday season, because there is a sort of minty but not sweet green, like pine note that's very uplifting. I feel like it could be kind of a niche mouthwash scent. Not like your run-of-the-mill mouthwash, but just like a really niche pepperminty but pine needle spa-like, yeah, sort of slightly bordering on being musky, but it's not actually. It's probably just the orris, and I actually do like it. I think I might want to layer it with gypsy water, because I feel like that also has a kind of green pine fragrance to it, and this could make that one last a lot longer as well. But yeah, I'm happy to have it. It's probably not everyone's cup of tea, nor is it like my immediate cup of tea, but for 50% off, it was a really good deal. The second one that we want to get to is in the larger 100 mils. I thought, why not? And this is Confetti, and I'd seen so many people online raving about this and picking up bottles. Like during the holidays when they had their sale, they were picking up 5, 6, like however many bottles they could get. So when I saw the 100 ml still available well after the sale, I had to snag one up. And this one lists violet leaf, rose oil, coffee, pear, and sandalwood. And let's remind ourselves here, because there was definitely one where I wanted to share something specific. Yeah, it's this. Okay. This is a very interesting fragrance. It's possibly one of my most interesting scented fragrances because it smells very indie to me. This is a very indie fragrance vibe, the way that Fresh As absolutely isn't. And the best way I can describe it is it really does smell very individualistic and almost as if none of the notes are like melded into one, and it's as if you're smelling independent notes throughout the wear of this fragrance, which doesn't happen often to me, and I hope you guys understand what I mean. But sometimes you smell a fragrance and you feel like it smells amazing or it smells horrible or what have you, but you can't pick out any notes, or it's hard to pick anything out. And other times it feels like nothing is, the other extreme is that like nothing is melted together and or it's not uniform. And this is like that for me. Like I'll smell it and I can smell like a very distinct, slightly musky, slightly like dirty rose oil. And then I can smell like, I wouldn't say coffee, but there's a sort of like cocoa bean, like sort of bitter cocoa bean note. Then at the same time, there's like a leafiness to it, and they're all independent from one another almost. So I don't know how much or how much wear or how often I'm gonna wear confetti. I'm still wanting to play around with it, but I am conscious that I want to play around with it at home because it's not a fragrance that I feel super comfortable wearing out or wearing around loads of people. So that's where I feel about that. And the last one, I really know I shouldn't have gotten it, but I fell into the hype. So this is the Jilted Elf body spray. It's supposed to have sharp grapefruit and spicy cinnamon, but there are other notes such as ginger, citruses, lemon, grapefruit, and osmanthus. I'm going to spray this one in the air. These are the formulations I'm well used to. And again, it's not that this is bad, but this is not a fragrance I feel like you would wear on yourself. It really does smell like a room spray. Thankfully, it's in the perfect, bottle to be a room spray. And really only a room spray during the holidays. Like there's definitely a sort of allspice, cinnamon, festive scent to it. There's a little bit of citrus, but it's not super citrusy. And in reality, it's just nothing that I want to smell like. It kind of smells like a festive candle to me, but I knew that going in, and I'm hoping I'll just use it as kind of a very bougie room spray during the winter months, specifically around the holidays. And let's put it in order. All right, so let's get into the order. This was a bit hard. I think it's second and third place. You'll see I struggled, but I definitely have a pretty good idea of what order I'd put them into. So in last place, I don't think anyone's surprised, I put Jilted Elf. I was trying to decide between this and confetti, and I think in reality, there are definitely days where I'd want to wear confetti and try it out. I actually find that kind of like dirty, almost like dirt-y and soil smelling rose of it. Like it's interesting. It's not an everyday scent, but there's something more interesting about that one. So this just feels a lot more room spray vibes for me. So this would be in last. Then, like I said, in fifth place, I put confetti. It's just a hard one. I like it, again, more and more. Like the more often it's on my skin, the more I like it. It's certainly more wearable as a personal fragrance than Jilted Elf personally for me. So I think it's worth it. I think I was just really surprised by how many people were buying like several just bottles upon bottles of it for personal use. I couldn't believe that, like, it didn't feel like an everyday scent for me at all, but to each their own. In fourth place, I put Fresh As. It's actually, out of the 3 Lush ones, the most wearable. Of course, it's the one I have in the least amount of mils because that always happens to me. It's not anything to rush and write home about, but there is like a freshness there and a sort of pine needle. Yeah, there's like some intrigue there, and I can layer this with other scents that I think are really well suited. So that's in fourth place. Third and second, like I said, I really did struggle. But in the end, I put in third place Terre de Lumière. I think I really like the almond tonka note combination in this. Otherwise, I think the opening is a little bit generic, and that's really what pushed me a little bit further to move this down to the third spot. But if you can get this on a sale like I did, then I certainly recommend, especially as kind of like a purse spray. In second place, I put the Veni 44. To me, it's sort of a lesser version of Tobacco Vanille. I much prefer Tobacco Vanille to, you know, Veni 44. So I'd never get this over that. And they're both expensive fragrances, and I already own one in a full bottle. But if you were wanting to try a vanilla from Le Labo or wanting to try a niche vanilla, this is an interesting one. The plasticky vibe could be very much to your taste or not. So definitely get a decant. And in first place, I love this one. I absolutely love it. I would very much love a full bottle, and that is Bigarade 18. Again, to me, I don't get any of that animalic scent. There is a saltiness almost that I suppose could pull a little bit more animalic the more it's on your skin and the more it warms up. But it's not like, I don't want that to scare anyone away. Someone who particularly doesn't love animalic fragrances, because I would say I fall in that category. And for me, on my skin and to my nose, it's nowhere an ultra kind of animalic scent to me at all. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this haul. Definitely let me know in the comments below which one of these fragrances you've tried or you'd like to try. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.